Let's talk about the grip, and let's talk about a couple of things that you really need to know about the grip, because if you get these things and bits of information wrong, the problem with the bad grip is it can compensate your swing, which can compensate your alignment, which can compensate your ability to play enjoyable golf. So first things first, when we hold the golf club, make sure that you are getting into the habit of allowing the club to sit how it wants to. So club face pointing in the direction where you're going, and then the butt of the club slightly ahead of the ball, right? That's how the club wants to sit. So then once you've got that club into that position, now you can start gripping the club. Now, what I tend to say to most students is if you bring your lead hand out in front of you, and if you sort of tilt your hand, roughly it's sort of like a 45-degree, right, type motion like so, then what you can now do is you can place the club directly through the fingers so it's pointing towards the center line of your body, right? Now, the benefit of gripping the club this way is it encourages you to hold the club something like so in the hands, right? So you can now see the way that I've got it in the fingers and I've got this heel pad here sitting on top of the club. Now, when I now position my thumb, there's always going to be a little bit of space in this area here, right, between where my sort of actual palm area would be. So the big thing that you don't want to do is kind of identify there's a space here and go, oh, I'll stop that from happening, right? Because then what happens is you'll end up rotating the lead hand too much on top of the club, which will make the left hand potentially too strong. So we want to go this way and then something like so. So it's not in the palm, but it's closer to the palm. It's not in the fingers. You don't really want to be gripping it completely in the fingers this way either, because then this starts to create quite a large angle between the left hand and the club. And what we want to do is if we grip it as I'm demonstrating here, so it's more like a little bit through the fingers, heel pad sits on top. This creates a much straighter relationship. So you can see there's a little bit of cupping in that left wrist, but not too much. So that's the first thing that you want to do. If you then ensure that when you put your thumb on the club, I've said this before in other videos, that your lead thumb sits down the trail hand side of the handle, right? So you can see my left thumb sits down the right side of the handle. And the reason why it's important, because now my right palm can sit on that left thumb. The reason why that's important is because that helps me push the club away from me and maintain good width in the backswing position. You then have a choice between what you want to do with the fingers, so whether you want to interlock, whether you want a baseball, whether you want to overlap, or whether you want to do whatever you want to do is completely up to you. But yet again, the thumb, this is important, your trail thumb needs to live down the lead hand side of the club. Again, if you start to move this way, this will feel like a more powerful swing, but what will happen is the club face will become very much affected. So your thumb then sits this way, that palm nice in contact with the left thumb, and as long as you grip the club like this, then you're going to have your hands working in a nice, should we say, kind of unison position where you're going to be able to release the club really naturally. Welcome in. I'll see you soon.